that's in the angle side angle case. So a lot of times I usually like to draw myself a quick little sketch. It doesn't have to be nearly drawn to scale, so don't worry about that ever. Angle A, angle B, angle C. Angle A is given as 101 degrees. You see, that's not even close to scale, right? Because that's an obtuse angle. This is really just to help us organize and make sure that we're labeling the correct sides. Angle B is 34. Angle C is not known, but we do know side C, which is 34. So you can see that we have two angles and an included side, which means that we're in an angle side angle type case. Now the law of sines, in case you haven't seen it or forgotten it, is the rule that says that in any triangle, sine of A over A equals sine of B over B, which is equal to the sine of C over C. So since these proportions hold, we can use that information to fill in all of the missing information from the triangle. Okay, in particular, let's get angle C first, because that'll be the easiest one to grab here, because all of the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we'll subtract off the 101 degrees and we'll subtract off the 34 degrees to see what's left over for angle C. 180 minus 101 minus 34 leaves us a remaining part of 45 degrees. So angle C is 45 degrees. Label that in blue. Okay, next let's go for side A, which is the one that's opposite from angle A. So using the information inside of the triangle, we now have angle C and side C. So from that we can conclude that sine of 45 degrees over 34, right, angle C over, or sine of angle C over side C, must be in proportion to sine of angle A, which is 101 degrees, over side A that is opposite from it right over there. So this is a nice setup because now we can isolate the A quite easily. I'm going to, let's see, multiply the A over to the left and multiply the 34 over to this side. So 34 sine 101 degrees equals A sine 45 degrees. And then, of course, to isolate the A, we just divide both sides by sine 45, or rad 2 over 2. But we'll just keep it as A equals 34 sine 101 over sine 45. So now I'm going to grab my calculator and type this in. 34 sine 101 divided by sine 45. And hopefully if you're following along here and you tried to do this on your own, to two decimal places here, we would have gotten an answer of 47.20. Okay, last side, side B. So to find side B, I'm going to use the same ratio with the C's, sine 45 degrees over side C, which is 34. And this time that's going to be equal to sine of angle B, which is 34 degrees, over side B, and where side B is opposite from angle B. So from that, we can now jump over and to the next steps here. 34 is going to be multiplied against the sine of 34. So you get 34 sine 34. The B is going to come up over here on the left, and then we're going to have to divide by the sine of 45. So to jump a couple steps there, that's what the angle B is going to be. Notice the only difference between side A and side B is the angle, sine 101, sine 34, because we're just doing a different angle. So again, calculator, 34 sine 34 divided by sine 45. Looks like in this case we're getting that B is equal to 26.89. So that is side B. And that solves the triangle. So why don't you try one on your own now? Use the law of sines to find the missing angles and missing sides in this set of information. Okay, again, assuming you pause the video and try it on your own, let's do it together now. A, B, C. A is 74 degrees, C is 76 degrees, so therefore B must be 180 minus 74 minus 76. So what did you get for 180 minus 74 minus 76? Hopefully you got 30 degrees. So that's the missing angle. Now the sides. So with the now 30 degree angle labeled up here, we can now try to find with the other information, b is labeled as 19, we can use sine b over b to set up our ratios. So for the green, trying to find side A, we would do sine of 30 degrees over 19, sine of b over b, equals sine of 74 degrees over A. So simplifying this would yield A equals 19 sine 74 degrees over sine 30 degrees. Effectively, we're moving that one down here and moving this one up here, and then the A is coming over to the other side. So we're like switching these two and moving the 19 up. So, calculator, 19 sine 74 divided by sine of 30, which is 1/2 by the way, but that's 36.53. And then for the last piece of information for side C, we're going to do sine of 30 degrees over 19, same beginning, equals sine of now 76 degrees over C. So C would be equal to 19 sine 76 degrees over sine of 30 degrees. And in the trusty calculator, it turns out that this is 19 sine 76 divided by sine of 30. We're expecting close to the same number here. Oh wow, that's really close actually. 36.87. So A was 36.53 and C was 36.87.